Hi, this is Jason Nickleby, Assistant Director with the Minnesota State High School League, and this is football officiating training tape number 4. Had a good first 2 weeks. Really appreciative of all the work that officials have put into preparing for the games each and every week. Having great pre-games and discussion with your crewmates. Because again, when we're looking at these tapes, not telling you that you have to do everything that I say in these things, just trying to throw out some ideas and thoughts for you to consider as you prepare. Again, when we look at these clips, not picking on any one official or crew or team or player, just trying to learn from these. Especially this week, there's a couple pieces that I just want us to stop and think about: our mechanics, our communication, and just how fast we're going when we're processing certain things, especially when the clock is stopped. So just things to consider as we look at plays this week. And good luck with your preparations for week 3. Again, really proud of the work that we're doing. Keep it up. Stay healthy and stay safe. Let's take a look at some plays. Okay, on this one, 2nd and 3 from the 26-yard line. Quarterback is going to step back in the pocket, can't find anybody, runs down the side zone, and gets tackled clearly out of bounds, and we have an excellent call for a late hit out of bounds.
Pretty good on penalty freeze
and
here,
we do a nice job of communicating that to the referee. So just a nice job here of coverage. Referee works inside out. Line of scrimmage, maintains his position on the line of scrimmage, and then turns and pivots and officiates this play from behind. And because we don't drift downfield, we're in really good position to view this contact, which is clearly out of bounds when it's initiated. So this is a proper call for a personal foul for a late hit out of bounds. So really well handled mechanically, coverage-wise, nicely done. And I think that's why we're in perfect position to see this, and we drop a flag properly so. So very calm, under control, nice mechanics, good judgment, just really well handled. Something to note, if this was 4th down and this runner was short of the line to gain and we had this same foul, we would enforce it, but the defense would take over. Saw a similar play in the Duke Clemson game with a dead ball foul on 4th down. So just something to keep in mind. This particular one was on 2nd down, but just wanted to throw that out there. But overall, mechanically, coverage-wise, just really well done by the crew. Calm, cool, collected mechanics, nice judgment. Very well done. Okay, on this one, we're going to have a quarterback keeper to the right side of the formation, and he's going to have his helmet ripped off by the defender. So we have a proper call for a personal foul face mask. And remember, the enforcement this year is going to be different than what we had last year. So in this case, we would have a 15-yard penalty enforced from the previous spot because this foul occurs behind the line of scrimmage, and the end of the run is behind the line of scrimmage as well. Because as soon as that helmet comes off the runner, we are shutting this play down. So we have a foul and end of the run behind the line of scrimmage. Therefore, this should be a 15-yard penalty from the previous spot this year with the new enforcement. Mechanically, referees and umpires, remember, we're going to stay right in our position and let the passer, the quarterback, cross our face, and then we're just going to turn and pivot and officiate inside out. We pick this foul up as the referee, which is outstanding. That's what we want. But I think it puts us out of position potentially, and we're moving. And when we're moving, our accuracy and judgment tends to decrease. So just stay put, turn and pivot, officiate inside out, and then On this play, as soon as the helmet comes off, we want to make sure that we are getting in there, killing the play, making sure that that play stops and that everyone doesn't continue on after that initial foul. And then this player can continue to play after having his helmet rip off. If his helmet came off just on its own, he would have to sit out for a play, but he can return for the next play after this foul. But well done coverage wise. Mechanics, just tighten up a little bit on our positioning, turn and pivot, and then good judgment and good job of closing on this action at the end of the play. Okay, on this one, we're going to have an interception near the end of the half. And I like our coverage. We're in good position, back judge here. We jog up the field, follow the play, line of scrimmage. We let it pass in front of us and then officiate from behind. So this is good. And then we clear all the players. Now, during the return, we're going to have a foul against the offensive team or the former offensive team here. And it appears that it's a personal foul or an illegal block of some kind away from the ball. So we report it to the referee, who signals a block in the back against the former offensive team. Not to say that it didn't happen, but pretty unlikely for it to be a block in the back against the offensive team. And everyone is confused by this, so much so that replay has to get involved and start asking questions about what exactly was called, just to make sure that the enforcement was correct. And you see here on the replay in slow motion, it appears at the top of the screen like an offensive player goes to the ground, but it's hard to see whether they tangle feet or if it was a blow up kind of a block. But we signaled block in the back. And then even though we talk to replay, we still enforce or announce, rather, that it was a block in the back against the offensive team. Pretty unlikely. So my point in showing this one is not to pick on anyone or embarrass anyone. My point is, when we have a foul that's unusual, we want to for sure that we want to make sure that both teams and everyone there is aware of it, and make sure that we're on the same page. So if it was truly a block in the back against the former offensive team, let's make sure we communicate that with everyone. And then if you're the calling official and the referee is announcing that it is against the wrong team or it's the wrong number or we're going to do the wrong enforcement, then we need to step in and say something. It's just like the airport again. If you see something, say something. If the referee is making an announcement that's not accurate as far as what you've called or what you're reporting, make sure that you step in and say something. So again, we signal block in the back here, and I believe we ended up enforcing 15 yards. So I'm assuming they thought it was a personal foul, or the referee had it as a personal foul in his mind for a hit away from the ball by the former offensive team. Can certainly support that. Didn't see it on film, doesn't mean it didn't happen. But overall, our penalty enforcement, our foul reporting, our announcing, all that got a little clunky at some point along this process. And I think it's just a good reminder to slow ourselves down. Referees, slow down, get all the information. Umpires, make sure that the referee is slowed down and has all the information, and then let's enforce with efficiency and accuracy. But at the end of the day, we want to be correct, especially as it relates to who the foul is on and our enforcement. So slow down, ask questions, get all the information you need, and then move forward. All right, on this one, 1st and 10, we're in our initial position for a scrimmage play, and we're going to have a run up the middle, and we're going to have a foul for a face mask thrown by the back judge on this run up the middle, which is excellent. This is exactly where we want to be looking. Great job of getting our vision to the lead blocks and then officiating the end of the play here. And you see on the replay here that he gets his hand underneath that mask and pulls it forward. So this would be enough for a 15-yard penalty, and that's what we call personal foul, face mask against defense number 6. And because it is inside the 30, it will be a half the distance penalty, and in this case, the result of the yardage will result in a first down. But the main thing on this particular play is our excellent transition and mechanics of picking up lead blocks. This is critical for back judges to do when we have the umpire in the offensive backfield. We need back judges to take more ownership on running play coverage. And this is a really good example of doing that we just don't fall asleep thinking, well, it's a running play, I'm a back judge, I don't really need to deal with it. This back judge stays put, reads run, doesn't backpedal out of there, and is in perfect position to see this, and picks it up on this lead block or these lead blocks, and then finally at the end of the play with the face mask. So good position, good job of not bailing, nice mechanics and transition. Just a real good example of a back judge taking ownership on running play coverage, which is what we need with our mechanic with the umpire in the backfield. So well done here by the back judge and the crew. On this one, let's take a look at the lead block at the top here. And we have a running play that starts at the 31 and then ends at the 29. And we're going to have a flag from the line of scrimmage official at the top of the screen, who is going to have the defense number 1 for an illegal block below the waist. And this is an excellent job of staying home, officiating our key areas of responsibility. Again, this is one of the issues or challenges that coaches stated that we had, that we were missing low blocks, particularly by the defense on plays like this. And I think that staying home has really helped us to pick these up. So nice mechanics, good job of adjusting our vision to the point of attack and picking up this particular block. And then remember, referees, when we have this, it's a personal foul and then signal legal block below the waist against the defense. And remember the yardage and the line to gain and all those kinds of things before we turn on our mic and begin our announcement. But remember, on these low blocks, merely trying to tackle the runner does not absolve you from taking out that lead block. You can't just take them out and say, well, I was trying to get to the runner. No, you need to be actually trying to go at the runner, and if you happen to clip them, get a piece of them as you're going by, that's one thing. In this case, he clearly cuts the lead block and then does a second overt act to try to tackle the runner. This is an illegal block below the waist and is correctly called by the line of scrimmage official. Now, from a mechanics and coverage perspective, make sure that referees, you're getting your vision here as well. Back judge is going to be really tough for you, but you see this action at the left side of the screen there. We need back judges or umpires to get to that. And it doesn't matter to me if the umpire gets to the pile and the back judge gets to those players rolling around on the ground there, number 55 in black. Probably umpire to the pile and back judge to that action. But either way, we need to make sure we don't have two officials at one place. So make sure we're covering that backside, as well as the line of scrimmage official at the bottom of the screen, the down judge. It's not a play to take off because it goes away from you. Make sure that you're getting your vision to the backside here. and we at least have a physical presence where 55 is on the ground there with number 75. So that's the coverage piece. Just make sure that we're officiating off ball and dead ball. But referees, we want your vision on this block and get your vision there. And then remember, from an enforcement standpoint, we have a defensive foul with a run that ends beyond the line of scrimmage. So we would be enforcing this half the distance to the goal, and the result of the yardage would be a first down. So just make sure we include that as part of our announcement, referees. But really nice job by the line judge on this play. On this one, we're going to have a pretty similar situation to what we've seen in a couple previous plays. We're going to have a run up the middle, and we're going to have a face mask foul against number 6 of the offense. And this was picked up by the back judge. So again, good job of getting our vision to the lead blocks at first wave and picking this up. And then we have a nice presentation and announcement by the referee here. So good job there. We're getting our vision to the point of attack on this block if we're the umpire and the back judge. And we do that here, and this flag comes from back judge here. And certainly number 6 helmet, his helmet does come off, and it would be dead at that point, remember, and we would enforce the 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. In this case, it appears about the 32-yard line, so we'd have 15 yards from there. So that would be our enforcement. The only thing I would say is back judges, or any official for that matter, just be careful on these. Don't officiate to the result. Obviously, his helmet comes off, but it is a big pileup. It is a big scrum, and it may be difficult to tell. So just be sure that there is a hand in a helmet opening or on the mask, and it is grasping and turning and so forth before we throw on this kind of foul. Again, definitely his helmet comes off. It's really hard to tell, even in watching it a bunch of times, how exactly that happens. So I'm not going to question the judgment of the back judge, who was standing right there, and he saw what he saw and made the call. So I'm glad our vision and our mechanics put us in position to see this. It would be good if the umpire was down on this as well, or at least had an opinion on this, just to make sure we're solid on it. And then remember that number 6 can return because the foul caused the helmet to come off. So number 6 does not have to leave for 1 down. So pretty similar to what we've had in another play or two. Our mechanics are good here, shifting our vision as back judge, owning running play mechanics and judgment there. So really good by the back judge to do that. Just be careful. Make sure we know whose hand is in there and who's causing what. But overall, really good mechanics and vision. Okay, on this one, I want to talk about our coverage as umpire and referee when we have a free defender, and not so much on the judgment side of things, but mainly just on our mechanics and our coverage. So notice the linebacker at the 30-yard line. He's going to initiate a blitz through the gap, and the right guard is going to see this blitzer, and he is going to reach his arm out to his right, so going through the B gap there, and he's going to hook him around the waist and spin him to the ground. And this would be offensive holding that we would want called. We have point of attack, material restriction category. We have a takedown. So definitely one we want called. And I think it's not one that we saw and passed on. I just think it's a discussion as a crew, umpire, referee in particular, on where are we looking and how do we pick up this kind of action if it were to occur in our game. So the key is referee and umpire, when we have a free defender, and that is typically a blitzing linebacker or safety, that is has a free shot to the quarterback or to the backfield, that person is typically the player that is most likely to foul or be fouled. So in this case, is taken to the ground, and we would want offensive holding. We also have the higher potential for roughing the passer, targeting, those kinds of things because of how fast these players are coming in. We have a higher likelihood or possibility of that occurring. So when we see free defenders, we want to shift our vision to this free defender, especially referee in this case, because the quarterback is not a threat to be fouled. He's standing at least 4 or 5 yards from any defender. So we really shouldn't be staring at him. Our vision should be at blocks. Umpire as well should be getting our vision to blocks. And if you look at this, the blocks that the umpire is dealing with really are not all that suspect. We have a one-on-one block with the tackle. That's not much. We have a double team between the center and the left guard. So nothing really too concerning there. So then we should shift our vision to that free defender and the right guard, who ultimately gets a right hook into that free defender and spins him and takes him to the ground well before the pass is thrown. So if the pass is in the process of being thrown or is actually away, then we would pass on this. But there is a definite time element, a gap here between this holding action and the pass. So this is offensive holding and one we want called. And it's just a reminder for umpires and referees, shift your vision to the point of attack with the free defender when they're blitzing like this, because they have a high likelihood of being fouled. So make sure we get our vision to this. On this last one, we're going to have a running play to the bottom of the screen, and there will be a suspect block at the A39, and we have the referee that calls a hold here. So good vision, good job. Keep an eye on the clock. It's always critical at this time of the game. Make sure it stops on time or fix it if we need to. And then referees, we don't need a preliminary when it's a penalty that they will take, but good announcement.
Holding, offense, number 21. It's a 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul, first down.
So well done on that, on the announcement and that piece. Just don't need a preliminary signal when it's something that they clearly will take. And then make sure that the clock is adjusted as necessary. But from a mechanics and coverage standpoint, this is excellent. Referees, we just turn and pivot and officiate inside out. And I think that's the reason that we pick up this block, because we just turn and pivot and we see this action start, develop, and finish. We need to see it all the way through. If we don't see it start, develop, and finish, we're going to guess. And you see right there on the replay that 12 tries to get back into the play as a defender, and the offensive player has a hold of him, has hooked into him, and is not releasing him at the point of attack. And so we have point of attack, yes. Material restriction, yes. Category, hook and restrict. So this is a foul for offensive holding and one that we want called. So nicely done by the referee, turning, pivoting, officiating inside out, seeing the block start, develop, and finish, realizing that the block is at the point of attack, that there's a material restriction, and he can apply a category. So we would have a foul for offensive holding. So nicely done here. Good job of getting into the announcement quickly. Just remember, no preliminary. But you see right there again, hook and restrict, point of attack. Definitely one we want called. So well done. I think the theme here on these plays is just making sure that we're transitioning and getting our vision to these blocks when we need to make sure we pick it up. And sometimes it's the referee, as it is in this case. So well done. Okay, that will do it for training tape number 4. Some good examples for us to look at relative to who's looking where as it relates to running game coverage in particular. with only 5 officials, we don't have the luxury to ball watch. We don't have the luxury to officiate in other official spaces. We need to officiate our primary responsibility to the best of our ability, and make sure that we trust our crewmates to do the same. And we do that in many of these situations. It's just a reminder to discuss with your crew who's looking where and when do we transition as the play develops, making sure we see blocking action start, develop, and finish, and we don't guess. Make sure we put that all together and that we are mechanically sound. Keep reviewing the Mechanics Illustrated. Again, we're still seeing some pieces mechanically that need cleaning up, mainly back judge and umpire on free kicks. You need to get out onto the field and officiate inside out. Don't go to the sideline or don't stay in the sideline. And then line of scrimmage officials in particular, red zone mechanics, let's brush up on those. And then back judges, like we do in many of these situations here, let's make sure we have ownership on running plays just as much as we do on passing plays. So with that, have a great week. Travel safe, stay safe and healthy. Good luck, and we'll talk to you next week.